Hey, my name is Mihir Joshi. Welcome once again to the MJ show. And today I have somebody very special with me. And this gentleman, apart from being in one of the best shows that I have seen on Amazon Prime in a very, very long time, is also recently nominated for an International Emmy Award. So we're going to talk to him about the show. We're going to talk to him about this massive announcement which has just happened. The International Emmy Awards are going to happen in November. So we're going to talk to him about that. And of course, there's a lot more to talk about. So without any further delay, help me welcome on the MJ show the very, very talented Arjun Mathur. Hi, Arjun. Good to have you here. Hey,
Hi, MJ. Thank you.
Fantastic timing. I love this. Is exactly how it should be. We used to do this on Instagram, and I can never have this beautiful reveal moment like when I say hi and suddenly the screen opens up and you've got somebody. But it's good to have you here. And like I said in my introduction, firstly, congratulations on Made in Heaven. It's such a beautiful show. It's beautifully shot. The story is great, and it of course sort of helps highlight something which is a very important aspect of our society, and you've done such an incredible job, and congratulations on the nomination, man.
Thank you. Thanks so much, man. Really. Yeah. That means a lot.
Before we get to Made in Heaven and before we get to the nomination, as I always do when somebody comes on my show for the first time, let's find out a little bit about your origin. I call it the origin story. As you can see, I'm a big comic book fan, and that's my
me too.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's awesome. So we'll get into that as well. But firstly, let's find out your origin story from the perspective of you being an actor. How did this happen for you?
Well, I mean, I have grown up essentially in like old Delhi, civil lines. Delhi is a much more starstruck place than Bombay is. So, growing up there on masala Bollywood films is what I did.
Yeah.
Being a huge fan of, Amitabh Bachchan back in the day, Anil Kapoor back in the day, all the three Khans as they emerged, so I was like deeply in it. I was about 10 years old when my family moved to Bombay, and I visited a film set for the first time. And I think it was around then, that the bug really bit me, suddenly being close to this world and all that. And I was pretty enamored. And I think I had decided when I was really young that, yaar, mujhe to yahi karna hai. But it was a long while before I came out with it to anybody. We moved back to Delhi, and I had the school I was in was following an A-level system which had theater studies as a subject.
Oh, lovely.
So I got to kind of train a little bit there. And I was about 18 by the time I actually got around to telling my dad that, like, this is what I want to do. I don't see the point in going to college. Mujhe nahi karna. In fact, my dad thought I was doing my degree by correspondence for a long while. I had him fooled. But then that's it, man. So after school, I just kind of tried to train myself wherever I could, be it at a Kishore Namit Kapoor in Bombay or Barry John in Delhi.
Right.
And then I started, I was about 21 years old when I moved to Bombay, and by myself this time, and started working as an assistant director on feature films.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Yeah. And then I got to work on
What was the first thing you were working on? What was the first project you worked on?
The first project I was on, I was a runner on this film called Kyun Ho Gaya Na, with Mr. Amitabh Bachchan and Vivek Oberoi and Aishwarya Rai, and I was assigned to the costume department.
Okay.
It was hard and terrible work, but I did it. And then I went on to bigger films, Mangal Pandey, The Rising, Bunty or Bubbly. I was doing continuity. I was second AD on Rang De Basanti. Rang De Basanti was my last film as an AD, because then I was like, yeah, I better get down to what I'm here to do,
Correct.
I was getting greedy, getting to work on better and better projects,
Right.
But yeah, and then I took a year off, trained myself some more. I went off to Lee Strasberg in New York, joined a gym for the first time in my life and all that stuff. And that's it, man. Since 2007, I've been pursuing acting.
That's fantastic. So talk about your first experience with acting, in 2007 when you began. How easy or how difficult was it, knowing that, of course, you knew the business quite a bit from the other end, from the back end, how difficult was it to first land your first role? And then tell me a little bit about that experience.
I'll tell you, firstly, my 80 years really, I think, instilled in me a lot of efficiency as an actor. Number one, I got to observe some really terrific actors at their work, their work ethic and the way they approach a project, a scene. And, Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, Amir Khan, they're like institutions for me to have been around.
Absolutely.
And I also think that being on that other end has definitely made me more of an efficient actor on set, having seen how much it can trouble a production or a director.
Yeah.
The smallest, like the small ways in which an actor can really cause harm and trouble and loss
Right.
to a production.
Right.
I'm too aware of it to kind of do that to a film or a project, and so it certainly made me very like to the point, get on set, do your work, get out. So, but having said that, the transition emotionally initially was quite difficult, having because suddenly from being on one side of the camera where you're like the ones passing the judgment
Correct.
to suddenly now you're in front of the camera and you're putting yourself out for everyone to judge and criticize. And
Right.
and also there's this thing that kind of comes with actors, like people say कि अरे actor बन गया वो बदल गया है थोड़ा and all. It's more that I feel people start treating you a little differently when you're an actor,
Right.
which then, so that was a little difficult for me, being treated a little differently. And even now I find it really hard as an actor to be just sitting in my van and waiting for the shot. And I'm like, I really want to get in there and know from the production manager ke kya chal raha hai tumhara aaj, what's your headache today, can I help in any way, that kind of thing. So I don't know, it helps me. I want to be more and more involved in the projects that I do because of those years, I feel,
That's brilliant, man. And do you see
Yeah.
yourself getting back to that at some point of time, as in like of course, you're at the prime, I would say, of your acting career right now. There's a lot more that you want to do and give to the industry, I'm sure. But do you see yourself wanting to get back to that side where you are actually maybe directing or helping produce content in some way?
No, absolutely. I think it's essential for an actor also to be able to branch out, whether it's into production or direction or whatever. And I certainly do. I certainly have fantasies about it. I've tried my hand also at a music video, which is nobody has seen. It's just something of mine right now.
Okay.
But yeah, and I do want to do it someday, I think, but not for the sake of it. Number one, I mean, I can write. I have a flair, but I don't have it in me as of now to be putting a story together. It's too daunting, I'm not a screenplay writer per se. So I would have to find the right people to collaborate with. I would have to find the right content that I resonate with, to be able to put it out. Yeah, I'm very certain that whatever I do, I don't want it to just be empty, So let's see. I think like maybe an adaptation of some sort someday or something,
Beautiful, man.
But yeah, let's see. Right now, as you said, I'm just enjoying where I am a lot. And I think I'm just kind of getting into gear as far as acting is concerned,
Oh, for sure. So, tell me now, as somebody who's also been a part of the film world and now is a part of the web world, what is the difference that you find in this? And, this is a question that I feel like asking every actor I speak with on the show, because I know every person has different opinions about this. And, most often, the diplomatic answer would be to say that, hey, I'm an actor, I can act wherever, whether it's on a big screen or on for a digital platform. But how is it for you? Is it really that similar?
See, in some respects, like certainly as an actor per se, as far as giving the work is concerned, when you're finally on the set,
Correct.
It
That's
doesn't
pretty
make
much
a
the
hell
same.
of a difference.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, and it shouldn't. And I've often been part of projects which, like a film called Bridge Mohan Amar Rahe, which while producing, we were not sure whether it's going straight to a streaming platform or it'll be in cinemas. In fact, a theatrical release was announced twice, and then
Right.
Netflix took it on as an original. So, yeah, and so it can't really affect the work we do. And my job is to do the work, whether it's in a play or a film or a whatever, That being said, what's happening right now, what has been happening, how can I deny what it means, and what it really means is like, I think like the emergence has basically freed so many filmmakers and writers, first and foremost,
Yep.
from shackles of the box office, that they're able to take risks. They're able to cast new people. They're
True.
able to make brave choices in the way
Absolutely.
they, in what they choose to put out and how they depict it.
Correct.
So the maximum freedom has come to them, and really they're the ones to be pushing this forward. The content creators, as actors,
Correct.
we are just fortunate that we get to dive into that and sink our teeth into it. As far as characterization goes, I think it's amazing because like it's a series format really gives you the freedom to be with a character in the empty spaces.
Correct.
You get to see things which otherwise would be on the editing floor, on the they would be completely cut out of the film because it's just slowing the pace down or whatever.
Correct. Correct.
um
As an outsider looking at the industry from my perspective, what I love about the fact is now it's the story which is the star
yeah,
rather than a star
yeah,
being picked to fit a story.
absolutely,
And the
absolutely.
content creators, the filmmakers and the producers are deciding that, hey, I got to find the right person to fit the story. It
Yeah,
doesn't need to be until maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, 10 years ago, if a big production was being made, there would probably be a short list of 8 people or 5 people who would be thought of. Like it's got to be one of these 5 gentlemen or one of these 5 ladies who would be the lead actor and the lead actress. And now it's not that. And the stories are brilliant. It's like I always say epic
I'll tell
stories
you
like that.
the best analogy I heard was someone who compared a film to a male orgasm and a series to a female orgasm. And I
Brilliant.
thought that, yeah, that's the best way to put it.
That is fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
on that note, let's get to Made in
Hmm.
Heaven. That's an interesting point to bring in your show. But
Yeah.
honestly, man, it's a fabulous show. It's a great insight into the lives of the rich and famous, and these big, massive weddings that happen in our country. And I think
Yeah.
people really enjoyed that element of it as well. To be able to see that, I mean, of course, you get to see it in Bollywood films also, but there it's a lot more theatrical. It's not where you get to see the nitty gritties of things happening behind the
Yeah.
scenes. I thought it was really, really
Yeah.
cool. So tell me about your experience of first making this fabulous show, and the cast that you got to work with, and now of course being nominated for an International Emmy Award.
Yeah, first of all, you're so right, about what you said, because I think the feeling that we wanted to get across while making this is that these people. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's
yeah,
like you got to see these people behaving like this around their weddings, and you got to feel like, "Arey yaar, shit, I know this person."
yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, it was pretty amazing, man. From the day I read the script, and I realized what this show was really. I mean, I put it down, I finished all the episodes, and I was like, wow, like just the loud and clear voice that this show had. what
Yeah.
what every point that it was making against patriarchy and misogyny and all our archaic customs and traditions, which
Homophobia.
yeah, I don't know who they're serving. And then in terms of, yeah, the support that it was taking up for the queer community,
Yeah.
and the fact that, in these times, honestly, I thought it was extremely relevant that the entire show is pretty much told from a female perspective.
Yeah.
uh, and I just wanted to be a part of that voice. Yeah, I thought it was really important for me to put myself behind that. So now, I mean, making the show, honestly, like I said, like something like this, for the first time, I think it gave a filmmaker like Zoya Akhtar freedom to be able
Yeah.
to work with actors like us, in leading parts.
Correct.
And I think the experience was just mutually amazing. And I mean, whether you take it was such a fantastic crew. First of all, the
Yeah.
creators and the directors and everyone, honestly, it felt like it was pretty much a bunch of friends making the show. Like the DOP Jay Oza is like, he's my brother and closest friend.
Nice.
And so it was always, every day while filming, we were all like trapped in this one Eros hotel in Delhi for like 6 months. I was like, and we were, by the end of it, we were like just behaving like Big Boss contestants. It was pretty crazy. But it was a lot of fun, man. We really had a lot of fun. It was long, tiring, but it was just fun. And we knew that we were making something competent,
Yeah.
because everyone who was there was like skilled as hell at their work, and everyone was giving it their best. And we knew that, okay, we're doing okay, But I mean, when the show opened and the kind of response that we got, nobody expected that, you know.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that can't be
I think this
expected.
was
It
one
was
of Amazon
magical.
Prime's first sort of big shows that was also put out, right?
At the time, yeah, it was
At that time.
always like the comparison at the time was always happening between Sacred Games and Made in Heaven. Even though
Exactly.
they were in
Very
completely
different
different
genres. Yeah.
worlds,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but they were definitely their biggest shows at the time. Yeah.
That's pretty spectacular, man. And sort of to culminate everything, the cherry on the top, to be nominated for a massive international award. I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, man, I can't even. This was one doesn't see this coming. One can't see this coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I was informed 6 to 8 months ago that by Excel Productions that, oh, we're submitting your performance for consideration. I was like, okay, great. I knew that Inside Edge had gone, and last year a bunch of things had been nominated, but I was like, okay, cool, man, go for it. I was like, yeah, I've got a letter saying my performance is being submitted. I'll frame this and keep it. You know what I mean? And I did not see this. It was forgotten, and then
Yeah.
it was just completely forgotten. And I just didn't see this coming, man. And the thing is, like, since it has, it's amazing because I've been doing this for 13 years, and it's been a long and hard and tiring road, and
Yeah.
often uh, one has walked side by side with like fear and insecurity and envy and all these like self-doubt, which are all part and parcel of this profession, really.
Absolutely.
But and often, if you decide to walk a path that's slightly divergent from the norm,
Hmm.
then you don't even know what you're doing or what territory you're in.
Yeah.
But something like this coming just is a good affirmation of that there's a higher power looking out for you, and it just keep doing what you're doing. Never mind if it uh, resonates with everybody or not. Never mind if like it fulfills your earlier notions of success or whatever. Just
Right.
like I feel very glad and proud today that I continue to walk my own path, and that's brought me here.
That's brilliant, man. And I think I see this, when I read about it, for any actor. I mean, especially for you as well. This time, it could be the start of like the second sort of innings, if you want to call it, of your career, because now you are being noticed on an international level, and with that, the possibilities are just endless, of getting to work not just here in India, but maybe working abroad, working in films and shows abroad as well, like we've seen, some phenomenal actors from India have done in the past. Is that something
Absolutely.
that you would want to do? Is that something that you would want to do in the years to come right now?
Absolutely. I mean, that is my path. To be very honest with you, if you ask me what's my model career, it's Irfan
Mm.
Khan. No questions about it.
That was the name
Uh,
in my head when I spoke about
yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah, and so many. And look, the world is just like it's a small place now, and you see what's happening with diversity
Correct.
in cinema abroad. It's like there are. It's amazing what's happening. I'm here at a really exciting time, to be honest, and it has
Correct.
very much been my plan. I've done the rounds. I've got management in Los Angeles, I agent in London, all that stuff happening. So I'm just, yeah, the world is open, and I mean, I personally am just getting started.
That's brilliant, man. Hey, I want to say congratulations to you. And before we wrap up for today, I want to ask you some, some easier questions. This was about your life, your career, and everything so far. But let's talk about hypotheticals as well right now. Now that we're talking about a world where anything can happen, and this is, like you said, a great time for you to be in the game. If you had to pick somebody to work with, Indian or abroad, name three people that you'd love to work with.
David Fincher, uh, Richard Linklater, Martin Scorsese.
Damn. Okay. Brilliant, man. That's a
How's
great
that?
wish list. That is a
Yeah,
fabulous wish
why
list.
not?
And, again, going back to, films and web series and whatnot, do you see yourself doing something where, you got the whole big song and dance kind of a thing and, your typical Bollywood style movie again? And if you would do something like that, who would you want to see opposite you in a film like that?
Man, I don't know. Honestly speaking, I don't think I'm that person who, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say no, I'll never do this or never do that.
Yeah,
But I just think that not every piece of, I mean, I think it's perfectly possible to put across a commercial piece of work now without those unrequired tropes of
I
commercial
agree.
song and dance numbers. You know what I mean? And there
Yeah.
can be songs and there can be music and all of that. But if I have to dance and all, then I would much rather do it wherein the film itself
It
is
fits.
yeah, wherein the film
Yeah,
itself is of a musical space, something
correct.
like a Moulin Rouge or a Grease
A La
or
La
some
Land. Yeah,
a La La Land, something like that,
correct. Absolutely.
rather than an otherwise some other kind of story which suddenly some song and dance has just appeared for no reason at all. I don't want to do song and dance for no reason at all. You know
No,
what I
I
mean?
agree
That's
with
my
you, man.
only, yeah,
Okay, final question, completely off films and whatever, since we kind of alluded to it earlier in the conversation.
yeah,
How are
yeah.
you into comics? What's your how did you get into comics? I'm always fascinated when I see people in the music and entertainment industry who are also comic book fans.
I mean, as a kid, man. I mean, like in India, we had access to all the only Chacha Chaudhary and this that Phantom,
Exactly, exactly. Indrajal comics.
apna correct Mandrake the Magician and all this
Correct,
stuff.
correct.
But yeah, I mean, always the second I was ever introduced to like the Marvel and DC world, I was like, this is it. And everything, man, He-Man, Vagera, huge fan. And then, of course, honestly speaking, the resurgence has, of course, taken place thanks to the MCU.
The
I'm a
movies. Oh
die-hard
yeah.
fan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think Marvel has done a fabulous job of like bringing it to a new generation, man. And we are just like the comic book fans of 30 years ago are just like, wow, blown away by what we're getting to watch.
Everything that we saw in the books that we imagined is actually being
Yeah,
brought to life
yeah,
because of technology
yeah.
right now. It's phenomenal.
It's too good.
Man,
Yeah, it's my just putting it out there. It's my dream to represent an Indian, maybe an Indian superhero in the MCU. Man, I'll just
okay,
be like, wow.
listen, I'm not even kidding. There was a
Yeah,
version in Marvel of Spider-Man called Pavitra Prabhakar. He was an Indian
correct.
version of Spider-Man. And right now they are exploring the concept of making a Spider-Verse movie with real
Yeah,
characters. That could be like a space that you could definitely explore, man. That would be amazing. And I'd love
100%.
to see you. But you know what? Listen, I know you got a lot of stuff planned ahead. I want to again congratulate you on the nomination. Crossing my fingers. I hope you get to win. And when you do, we'll have another chat. We'll talk about your upcoming projects. Hey, speaking of which, what do you got coming up next?
Well, honestly, like there were a couple of bunch of things that were going on the floor pre-pandemic.
Hmm,
So this hit and everything has kind of fizzled out and is trying to pick up again. So,
correct.
but there's a bunch. I mean, Made in Heaven season 2, whenever it resumes, I was in a show called The Gone Game in the lockdown, which we're shooting a second season. There
Nice.
are two films which I'm waiting for them to figure out their dates again. One of them needs to shoot in the UK, and there's new things I'm in talks for as well. But honestly, there's just so much more to consider before an announcement is made. People have so many logistics and precautions to consider,
Yeah.
and there have been so many cases of production starting and then having to shut down because of a positive case that I think everyone's just really scared and
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Of
trying to
course.
figure when they're starting. So I don't know, man. I'm just waiting. Whoever resumes first, I'm ready.
Brilliant. Well, I want to wish you all the very best for all your upcoming projects. And again, like I said, for the award ceremony as well, which is going to be happening in November. Everybody watching right now, follow this man on Instagram so that you get updates on everything that's happening. When this video goes up on the YouTube channel of the MJ Show, I'll give you a link to his Instagram handle. If you've not seen Made in Heaven season 1, make sure you go and see it, and you'll know why this gentleman has been nominated for that International Emmy Award. But for today, this is pretty much all the time we have right now. That is the brilliant Arjun Mathur. My name is Mihir Joshi. Hey, thanks a lot
Thank
for
you,
being here,
Mihir.
man. Bye. Hey, I'm Mihir Joshi, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so that you get a notification every time a new video goes up. Hit the like button as well. Leave a comment here for my guests and for me, and share it with absolutely everybody. We would really appreciate it. Make it happen.